Dinner. Hi. During the next half hour, 40 minutes or so, we're going to learn some really interesting things. We're going to learn about tea. And one of the best things, excuse me, I got a little hungry, that I do on this show is I get to learn from chefs from around the world. And we're going to be going to upstate New York. We're going to be talking with, oh boy, is that crab? I'm eating crab, folks. It's really good. Mike Harney is joining us from Harney and Sons Tea Makers. It's interesting. Earlier today, I got an email from my friend Christine Powers, who said this is her favorite tea. She couldn't believe that we're going to be featuring Harney and Sons. We're going to talk about their background. We're going to make some eggs with crab and tea. So stay tuned as Mark Alyn cooks your dinner takes to the air. We're going to turn the fire back on. We're very casual here at Mark Alyn Cooks. There, that should ring in a minute. I have to admit something, that I've been making tea all wrong for years. So we're going to bring Mike Harney in. He's going to tell us how to make a proper cup of tea. And we welcome Mike Harney in. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for getting me on, Mark. And of course, as you know, the customer is always right. So
yes,
there's no such thing as the wrong way.
Well, I've got the tea kettle going, and I think what we should do is, my favorite tea, and you sent me a couple of packets, is Earl Grey Supreme. I love Earl Grey. And the bergamot that is in this tea is a very healthy thing to have. It helps regulate blood sugar. I don't know if you knew that. Did you?
Well, there's some things that you know that I don't, as we learn.
So we're going to make a cup of tea. We'll start. So tell me what to do. I've got the packet open. I have the silk sachet. Oh my God, this smells good.
Doesn't it? Doesn't it?
Oh.
It's a great thing. I have a little bit of it here. I made. Well, you know, we recommend that you use like fresh water and that it's been filtered a little bit, you know, Mark, because there's a lot of chlorine. And then I have some cousins down in Florida, you know, in Sarasota, and the water down there smells sort of like that egg would smell in a week or two. Very sulfury. So we have then that. So the idea is to filter the water. As the Chinese say, it's the mother of tea. So you want to get good water, and then you want to, for the black tea, you want to try to bring it to a boil. And we recommend that you use a kettle, like you heard that noise in the background. You know, some people do like to use microwaves. That's true. I was just looking it up online, and the first one is, microwave tea is healthier. And then the second thing was, microwave tea is the worst thing you could possibly do. So obviously there's a little bit of confusion and differing opinions out there.
Right.
But we recommend that you boil the water, and that you, for black tea, that you heat the pot. You know, we're coming into the cooler season now. We got the leaves changing up here in New England. And so the ceramic pot or whatever is not quite hot enough. And so then the water cools off way too fast. That's a very good looking teapot.
Thank
What's
you.
the story with that?
You know, I wish we knew. Do we know where we got it, Carol?
My mother.
Oh, this is from your mom. Oh, okay. Well, and she actually painted a smaller one. So I have the tea bag, Mike. I put the tea bag here?
Well, I recommend you sort of warm the pot up if you could, Mark.
All right.
Throw a little bit of water in there and pour it back. I know you're out in LA, so water is a very important commodity. So
it
just
is.
sort of then pour it back in there after you swirl it around, raise the temperature. Like if you
All right.
feel the top and the bottom, can you feel a difference in the heat?
Oh,
of
yeah.
the pot?
Yes, absolutely.
Right. So now you're learning that that's the right way to do it, because it gets the pot preheated and the water will stay at a better temperature. So you put it back in there, and now you're going to put the bag in. And that looks like a fairly large pot from a distance.
It's probably a 4 cup pot, and so I'm going to pour
Right, that's a 2-cup sachet. So you want to put about half of it in there if you could.
Okay.
So and then you're going to bring the pot to the tea.
And put the.
Put the tea to the pot so that it stays as hot as possible. So bring that back there to the water.
Whoa! All right. And I'm going to pour half of this in.
Yep. You get extra protein from the paper.
Okay. All right. Got it. And as I said.
There's my box that finally came up, Mark.
I'm sorry?
The little box that says Michael Harney came up.
Oh, yeah. Jennifer Abernathy says, I love tea.
Put his box up. No.
Oh, that's her thing came up. Okay, I can't. Now I see it's Jennifer.
Yes.
I don't have my glasses on, so you have a distinct advantage over me.
Okay, well, I'll read these to you, Mike. Okay? So we're going to let that sit. So
now we're going to hold that for 5 minutes. So for
All
black tea, you want 5 minutes boiling water.
Got it.
5 minutes boiling water, and then take the sachet out. With,
Got it.
Green tea, it's less time and less heat.
Got it. And green tea is very popular. Well, what we're going to do now is, while we're, come back to me, please. While we're talking with Mike, and let's just get a brief overview of Harney and Sons. You're celebrating 39 years. You're almost 40 years old. Your dad started this. Tell us about that.
Well, you know, John Harney wrote the cookbook that you're going to be using, and I have a picture. I think you might be able to see it up here. So he's got his Marine Corps hat on today, but he's started in the hotel world, and then in 1970 they bought a tea company, and so John is up here, and he learned about tea, and then I joined him. He started Harney and Sons as a separate company in 1983. So that's the 39 years that we were referring to. And I joined him 5 years later, 88. So that makes me 35 years. I
just wanted. We have a sachet in the for the Earl Grey in our pot. Jennifer Abernathy asks, what about loose leaves versus tea leaves? You have loose tea right there.
I have loose tea. I'm drinking a cup of the from loose tea. So I had made it in a, I didn't have a pot, so I made it in a what they call a permanent tea filter. Let me get it in front of my face. There we go.
Got it.
So it's loose tea works very well. It's a cup, it's a spoon per cup. A teaspoon per cup. You know, I don't know why they call it a teaspoon, but it seems to fit, right?
Yes.
So a teaspoon per cup, and there you go. That's how you would make it in the pot if you were making it loose. Now, the Earl Grey that you have there is the same that we would have here in front of us. So that particular one is different. Teabag tea, you know, it's made on a different machine that goes a lot faster, Mark. And so because it goes faster, the tea has to be of a smaller, which oftentimes makes for a stronger cup of tea. Not quite as good, but pretty good. So we have lots of tea bags.
And you've got a variety of teas. We have, I know in the center there, a hot cinnamon, you said?
That's what I said, a hot cinnamon spice. That's our #1 seller. Wow. And people drink that every day. You know, we make maybe 2,000 pounds a day of the hot cinnamon spice. And it has a sweetness which doesn't have sugar in it. And it has that spice from the cinnamon. So it's something that people can drink and enjoy, even if they're diabetic.
Here's Jennifer is still with us. Harney and Sons Paris is my favorite, and she's eager to try the others. You know, Carol, can you hand me those 2 tins? Because we need to talk about the 2 tins. We found in our pantry of teas this one, Dragon Pearl Jasmine. We're not even sure how we got that.
Where?
In our pantry. My pantry.
Did you see if it was a plant? How did it get there?
We don't know. We've been
Oh my
connected
God.
without even knowing each other.
And what's
And
the
it's
second one?
and the second one is one that you sent me,
Oh,
the Royal Palace
now we know.
tea.
Okay, now we know how that happened.
Yes. Tell me about the Royal Palace.
Well, the Royal Palace. My dad he got to know these people, and they asked him if they wanted to do teas for the historic royal palaces of the United Kingdom. So the historic royal palaces are like the Tower of London and Kensington Palace, where there's really not royals living anymore. And this is a way that they sort of raised money to keep those places under control. And so us Irishmen were helping out the Queen, now the King. It's the Royal Palace tea is a blend that they asked us to do. We did one, the Platinum Jubilee for last year when the Queen, may she rest in peace, we did for her on her Platinum Jubilee back in was that April, May. That's when it was pretty much prime time for her. And so we've worked with historic royal palaces for many a year. And actually, we are their largest licensee.
Oh wow, Mike.
So,
I'm going to move these back over here. I want to bring in these eggs that I made earlier, following the recipe, and we'll start
recipe.
Their father's recipe. And while we're talking, I'm going to start shelling these, and you'll see that there's kind of lines. Can you see that? On the egg, right? Which is terrific. What about the wellness benefits of tea? Ooh, good one.
Well, tea has many thoughts, though, that it's supposed to be healthy. However, the United States Food and Drug Administration does not want Michael Harney or any non-doctor spouting off that. So, I mean, they're on the internet. People can read it. I just can't say it.
I get it. But there are health benefits from tea. I did
That's what they say. That's what they say.
I did a show on green tea years ago, and we talked about the polyphenols that are in green tea particularly. Oop.
There are polyphenols in all tea, and you find them in green tea because what happens when it changes color, when you get a oxidation, which you being a chef knows that's where when you cut an apple and it turns brown.
Right.
What happens is it's converting some of the polyphenols found naturally in tea into other chemicals. So what happens, Mark, is that they're reduced in black tea. There are many healthy chemicals. Sorry, I shouldn't say healthy. There are many wonderful things found in black tea. They just did the Tea Association just did one little health symposium.
Well, we're gonna move on just a
Those
little
look lovely,
bit. Don't
by
they?
the way.
Thank you. And the side, see all the color and the lines. So I'm going to take the yolk out of all of these, and we've talked about this with a number of different people. That the yolk is not a joke. It's really where a lot of benefits are. Why is Harney and Sons tea better than, I'm going to mention Lipton. I listen to a lot of old-time radio shows, and Lipton tea actually sponsored the one with the, if you know which old-time radio show Lipton sponsored, let us know. I'm trying to remember. Oh, Inner Sanctum. You're too young to know that one, Mike. But
no, I defer to you on that Inner Sanctum question.
Yes.
Well,
it was scary.
I'm not here to my friends at Lipton, but I'm not here to trash them. But generally, we buy better tea, and it's bigger leaves, so it brews up in a more subtle and more tasty way. So that's the
Got
main
it.
thing. We pay much more than they do for on a pound of tea, there, Mark.
All right, I'm looking at the recipe to see what we're going to do next. What we've done earlier today is I hard-boiled the eggs, and then after I hard-boiled the eggs, I added tea bags to liquid. I cracked the eggs and let them soak for hours. The longer you soak it, the more flavor you're going to get. There was also some soy sauce in that mixture. And I wanted to do this because it's a real simple recipe. You just have to have a little bit of patience and to do it. All right, so I've got the egg yolks here. Mike, any idea what we do next as I get a fork?
Well, we're gonna, I guess, smash the yolks. My dad did the recipe, John, so I know that that's what you're probably going to do next, huh?
Right. I'm mashing that up. Carol's going to get some mayo from our refrigerator for me.
Now we're getting interesting.
Yeah. And we have used for years, we have used Best Foods or Hellman's, and thank you, dear. I appreciate that. And we discovered on a trip back east Duke's mayonnaise, and which is oh, good idea. And Duke's is really nice. It has a tang to it that other mayos don't. And I made my own mayo, and frankly, this is easier. It's a lot easier. Okay, so I've got.
Yes, I have a French wife, so once in a while I get motivated and make mayonnaise.
Ah. And tonight you're having risotto with shrimp. You told me that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm having
types of rice.
I'm having 1,000-year eggs for my dinner with crab
Well,
meat.
congratulations.
Yeah. So let's see. I've got the yolks, and then we're gonna take the crab meat. And this is an 8-ounce container, and the recipe calls for about 6 ounces. So I'm going to mix that together. I've got shallots, and the recipe calls for about 1/4 cup. I'm probably not going to use all of these because these were very sharp shallots.
That's what my mom used to say that about me. I was really sharp, she said.
Yeah, my parents thought I was dull. No, not really. I'm going to add some pickled ginger. And
wow, that's starting to look good.
yeah, it really, and it tastes good. And it's not the orange stuff that you get in many sushi bars, but it's more natural because ginger is white. The meat is white. So I'm going to put that in and mix that up. Oh, you know what we forgot, Mike? My tea.
Well, I'm sure you had a timer on, so you heard it, no?
No. My timer
right.
forgot to tell me.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
I'm going to pour the tea.
5 minutes boiling water.
Yes, it's still hot. And I add milk to my tea. Is that appropriate?
As I said, whatever you do is very appropriate.
No, do I add the sugar in first, or do I add?
I don't believe there is a protocol in that respect, Mark.
Okay.
Because the sugar will dissolve anyway, right? You're not going to lower the temperature where it would precipitate out. So I don't think that's a problem. You know, the adding of milk. It was something the British sort of came up with, and you know, sugar was a colonial crop coming from the West Indies that showed up at approximately the same time as tea did in the UK. So that's where they sort of put that milk and sugar. And now they make a lot of teas which are strong. If you don't put milk and sugar in them, they're too strong.
Got it. This is delicious. I mean, it. As I said, I'm a Earl Grey fan, and this is nice. It's mellow. It doesn't have a bite. I've had Earl Greys that bite back, and well, you know, you don't want that. I'm gonna pass this to Carol. We usually toast with an adult beverage, and you can make cocktails with tea, and maybe we'll try that sometime.
You can add rum. You can add vodka. Obviously, vodka is neutral, so it goes with anything. And we're starting to do some teas. We have a whole cocktail line. We do raspberry mojito and black cask bourbon tea, where it's that way. We've gotten some old granddad casks, Mark, and put the tea in there to give it a little bit of a jump.
Carol's grandfather gave me a bottle of old granddad's before we got married, which was about 12 minutes ago. And every now and then I'll uncork it and taste a little bit. It's still...
The same bottle.
Same bottle.
Wow.
Same bottle.
You got to stop drinking so much, man.
I know. All right. And now we've got that mixed. We're going to take the mayo. What did we say we were going to do that in? I tell you what I'm going to do. We are extraordinarily casual here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the mayo, and we want about, I think about 6 tablespoons. And when I cook, I don't necessarily, here, we can do that. When I cook, I don't necessarily know how much I'm going to put in something. So we've got the that. I'm going to add, believe it or not, ginger juice, or the liquid from the pickled ginger, and a touch of wasabi.
Aha.
Now I have to be real careful with this.
We can't see the wasabi. Move that up. Move this
Right.
up.
That's awfully spicy.
Yes. And I like spicy. Carol does too, but she's hot enough without it.
There you go.
Right?
That looks like it's going to taste great.
It should.
And you just eat that by itself?
No, I'm going to add this. Let's see. I'm going to move this over here. I'm just checking around. I'm going to add this mixture to the crab and egg. And let's mix it up. And it's perfect. Okay. Now, we're going to do 2 things. Bring this back. Need another spoon. You know what I did? I just realized I needed a little bit more ginger for the topping, for a garnish, and I don't have it. It's all in the egg mixture, so.
But it'll taste good. Just won't look as good.
Exactly.
Tastes great. I'm sure it's going to taste great. It looks fabulous.
Oh, man. Now, I'm probably overstuffing, but I think that's okay.
No such thing as overstuffing, right?
That is true. What tea is good for Thanksgiving?
Well, we have something called Cranberry Autumn, which is a lovely tea which you could use. If it's later in the day, we have this African Autumn, so it doesn't have any caffeine. That's very similar flavors. African Autumn, it's got cranberry and orange flavors to it, so that fits in with the there. So either Cranberry Autumn, or if it's you're trying to reduce your caffeine, the African Autumn. Those are two different things that you could consider.
Mm. Now we're going to garnish this with some chives. Just a little bit of chives. Does tea have as much caffeine, like the black tea, as coffee, or
No,
not
you
as
have to
much?
drink 3 cups of tea to equal 1 cup of coffee.
How many?
1, 2, 3.
Wow. I think this looks great.
They do look fabulous.
Tom Martin says he has to try this recipe. Let's see where we can get this in. We'll do that.
Go, Tom.
Go, Tom. And we really appreciate Tom arranging for us to meet. Before I taste this, will you come back and we'll do another, maybe we'll do some of the cocktail teas? I'm putting you on the spot.
Sure.
All right,
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
I hope you're having a good time.
I'm having a good time.
Good. So here it goes. This is the best part of the show. Oh my goodness. Tea flavor comes out.
My dad, before he got too deeply involved in the tea business, he had this country inn, and he had usually we used to have a French chef there back in the 60s, but then there was a little bit of a problem, and he ended up having a Chinese chef. So for about his last 15 years running the place, they had a Chinese chef, and we learned so much from him, and you can see from those eggs a little bit what he learned.
Absolutely. Now, your background was is in the hospitality business.
Well, I learned from my father, as many of us do, and yes, that's true.
I'm a Cornell graduate. He's, that's one of the top.
He went to the hotel school. He went to the hotel school at Cornell, and I went to the hotel school, different time, of course. But yes.
Got it. And it's Harney and Sons. You mentioned your sister who worked with your dad on the cookbook. Are there other sons involved? Other family members?
Sure. My brother Paul is my partner in crime here, and so that's us two in the top. And I have 2 sons, which are about in the business. And Paul had his young daughter. She's 6. It's kind of funny. Her first name is Tegan. Teagan, and then she has some Vietnamese parentage with her. So her middle name is T. So Tegan T. Harney.
Oh my!
So they don't write it as Tea, the middle name, but it's pronounced that way. So we're looking forward to her straightening us out.
Yeah, and I'm sure she
will. We have to make it to when she does it, and then I have 2 grandkids, as you have a few of them, you and Carol, I guess, right?
Yes, we do. We just came back from a trip, and I think, I don't know if I mentioned it on the show, I was at the Detroit airport in the Delta Sky Lounge and decided to have a cup of tea. And they had a whole box of teas from Harney and Sons at the Detroit. That was the highlight of that part of the trip.
Well, that's great. Thank you. Yeah, no, Delta's been a good relationship for several years, so we're very happy to be associated with them.
Is Delta on the flights? They have Delta. They have
no,
Harney
not
and
on the flights. Because they in the Sky Lounge, it's much. They're able to get a little bit more money when it's on the plane. It's as I experienced. It's sort of every penny counts, doesn't it?
Got it.
So no, not in the plane itself. But yeah, no, my dad, he started the business, and then I joined him 5 years later, and then about 6, 7 years later, my brother Paul joined us, and my wife runs the shop. My oldest son, the one that gave us the grandkids, he says he started in the business when he was 8, so that's 30 years, he says. So it is a family affair, and we have a shop up here in Millerton, New York, 2 hours north of New York City, and also have a shop down in Manhattan, down in Soho. So it's good. We're consumed in all 7 continents there, Mark.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because there was this guy that came by, and he explained to me that he works at the NASA station in Antarctica. So that's how we got that last continent. It was a little hard, but we know Asia, Africa, North America, South America. So it we're in all of them. Australia, don't forget Australia, New Zealand.
How do the Brits like Harney and Son teas?
Well, as I said, we're in the historic royal palaces. We do a tea for the Shakespeare's Globe there on the Thames River. Mm-hmm. So we have, and we've been in hotels. We're in a lot of hotels in London. So it's there's work to be done for us. You're correct. We are interlopers over there. But I'm about to join the UK Tea Association. So.
Oh,
we want to do that.
Is that anything?
Canada's a good place for us. We just shipped some tea today to Mexico, so wow. we get around.
How many pounds of tea do you make a day? All total.
Well, I would think it would be somewhere around 20,000 pounds.
A day?
Yes, sir.
Holy moly! It's time to connect with King Charles, says Tom Martin. Listen, this is just, I learned so much.
We're hoping to do a tea for the coronation. We have to just get it, he's got other fish to fry right now. But,
yes.
We did bring it up to our friends at the historic royal palaces. So, yes.
Does tea go with fried fish?
He might have fried fish. He's the king. He can do whatever he wants, they say.
That is true. Well, as we end our show today...
I'm not an expert.
As we end our show, and I'm so happy that you'll come back, and we'll do some adult beverages with tea. I love that. I always think, when I think of tea, I think of the song. And I only have 2 lines. Tea for 2, and 2 for tea. Dee, 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 da-da. Carol won't sing. She will afterward. She will not have that song out of her head for a week because she won't sing.
Yeah, no, we did a video that was based on that.
Bring up the books again. Yeah. Oh, yes. This is the tea cookbook that your dad wrote, and then this is the book that you wrote. The tea.
Yes, sir.
The guide to tea. The Harney and Sons Guide to Tea.
Yep. No, this guy wrote that guide.
And so tea. You don't have blood. You have tea
my dad
flowing
got
there.
me in business, and then I, as you said, I had an Ivy League education, so I had to do something with it.
Got it. Well, I appreciate your time. I'm going to ask you to hold on.
You.
Okay. And I want to thank you for watching. Thank you very much. Enjoy the tea. Visit Harney and Sons. That's harney.com for more information. I'm Mark Alyn. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week here on Mark Alyn Cooks Your Dinner.